Actually, Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis confirms first 2 cases of coronavirus and almost $120 million stimulus package announced to aid in COVID-19 pandemic. Regionally, Guadeloupe records 11 new coronavirus cases in one day, now 73. Internationally, Spain's coronavirus death toll surpasses China's. And in sports, Barbados Pride 2020 champions of 2020 West Indies Championship. We'll have the details to these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan.
Welcome back and now on to the national news in detail.
Capacity as Minister of State with responsibility for health, it is my duty to inform you that as of 11:03 p.m. on Tuesday, March 24th, 2020, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis confirmed its first 2 cases of the novel coronavirus disease, COVID-19, in St. Kitts.
That's Minister of State with responsibility for health, the Honorable Wendy Phipps. Minister Phipps made the disclosure today, March 25th. She also provided more details about the individuals.
The patients are a 57-year-old female and a 21-year-old male, both of whom are Kittitian nationals, with recent travel histories to New York, USA, a jurisdiction which, up until March 24th, had recorded some 23,230 confirmed cases of COVID-19. My government has advised that both patients arrived in the Federation on March 18th, were tested on March 20th, and have been in home quarantine ever since their return to the Federation. Both patients and their families have been duly notified. We wish to remind the public that the infection of both patients is travel-related, meaning that the cases of COVID-19 were imported into the country.
The Honorable Wendy Phipps. In related news, in the wake of the announcement of confirmed cases of COVID-19, what solace can citizens and residents receive to help allay fears of the spread of the disease? Minister Phipps explains.
Every effort is now being taken to prevent the possibility of community or local transmission. Among other key measures being taken by the Ministry of Health are the following. 1. In-depth contact tracing in an effort to correctly assess the persons with whom both patients would have interacted. 2. Quarantine and monitoring of the contacts of the patients in order to ensure that they are handled as per WHO approved protocols. And 3, based on data collected from contact tracing, containment of the infection would be executed in order to restrict spread of the infection in the local community.
Minister of State with responsibility for health, the Honorable Wendy Phipps. Globally, as of March 25th, there were 463,412 cases of the virus, with 20,912 deaths, and 12 of these deaths stem from the Caribbean. The countries are the Cayman Islands with 1, Curacao 1, Jamaica 1, Guyana 1, Puerto Rico 2, Dominican Republic 3, Guadeloupe 1, Martinique 1, and Cuba 1, all adding up to 12 deaths. However, 113,802 people have recovered from the virus. Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Dr. The Honorable Timothy Harris has announced a stimulus package to aid in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. Prime Minister Harris made the announcement during his press conference on Tuesday, March 24th.
The economic fallout from the pandemic is expected to be severe in the critical sectors of tourism and manufacturing, with our job creators, that is our employees, and small to medium-sized businesses in particular being the worst affected by reduced income. That is why my government, after consulting with critical stakeholders, is acting. Our package of assistance is nearly $120 million. This represents the largest assistance package announced by any government in our region to date.
Furthermore, he stated the aim of the stimulus package.
Our fiscal and economic stimulus aims to help our workers maintain their dignity and keep their heads above water while together as a people we weather the crisis in unity and solidarity with each other. We offer support to corporate and unincorporated businesses, the agricultural sector, the self-employed, our farmers and fishers, among others, and indeed to all directly affected by the crisis.
Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. The Honorable Timothy Harris. Taking into consideration the announcement of the Federation recording its first cases of the coronavirus, Chief Medical Officer CMO Dr. Hazel Laws has provided a few steps to help prevent the spread of the disease. Dr. Laws said hand hygiene is salient.
We can wash our hands thoroughly with soap and water for at least 20 seconds after touching contaminated surfaces. You can also use 60% alcohol-based hand sanitizers. So hand hygiene is very, very important. Actually, the evidence tells us that this is the best weapon against this virus, hand hygiene, even more so than using a face mask. We want to recommend that you avoid close contact with anyone with cold or flu symptoms. In other words, you are to maintain a safe distance, 1 meter or 2. Remain 1 meter or 2 from persons who are visibly coughing and sneezing.
Dr. Laws gave this advice for persons with respiratory symptoms of the virus.
Persons with respiratory symptoms should cover their nose and mouth when coughing and sneezing, either with a tissue that's disposable or coughing in your flexed elbow. And it's important that those who are exhibiting such symptoms, that they should remain at home. In terms of the use of surgical masks as face masks, it is recommended that persons with respiratory symptoms, they are the ones who should wear these surgical or face masks.
Chief Medical Officer CMO, Dr. Hazel Laws. All is being done to make Nevis ready for the advent of the novel coronavirus COVID-19 on Nevis. That's according to Junior Minister of Health here on Nevis, the Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams. She made the remark on March 24th following the visit on March 20th of a 3-member team from the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, to Nevis to carry out training sessions with frontline personnel in the Ministry of Health and an assessment at the Alexandra Hospital. The visiting team, which was led by PAHO Advisor on Communicable Diseases, Dr. Jean-Marie Awawanga Babu, also included Advisor on Climate and Environmental Determinants of Health at PAHO, Dr. Karen Paulson-Edwards, and PAHO WHO Advisor on Systems and Services for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Dr. Rufus Ewing. Minister Brandy Williams described the training as profitable to the frontline healthcare workers. And Chief Medical Officer CMO Dr. Hazel Laws announced on Tuesday, March 24, that COVID-19 testing in St. Kitts and Nevis is performed via a two-tiered systematic process that meets international standards. The CMO pointed to the number of persons who have been quarantined and tested in the Federation and said, "We have a total of 292 in quarantine, 4 are located at a government-designated facility, and 288 under self-quarantine in their home facility, 207 in St. Kitts and 81 in Nevis. These individuals are monitored on a daily basis as they can be visited. In terms of whether or not persons quarantined are being policed, Dr. Laws reminded all of Section 15 of the Public Health Quarantine Regulations, which was published on February 21, 2020. It reads, pursuant to Section 10.2 of the Public Health Act, a person who contravenes the provisions of these regulations shall be liable on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $8,000. And that's it for National News segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com, or you can check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
as well as your business needs, and we're here to help. Our knowledgeable staff will work with you to help you achieve the financial success that you or your company needs in a competitive market. We offer solutions to make your banking experience easier, like our savings and checking accounts. Be sure to ask about our youth savers accounts and our Bank of Nevis Go Club. We offer a wide range of personal loans, including mortgage, land, student, auto, and consumer loans. Have access to your funds instantly with our BeOnline internet banking and our debit and credit cards. We make international banking and investing easy. How's your business? Give it the leverage it really needs by letting the Bank of Nevis assist you with all the necessary funding for all your business expenses. It's that easy. What are you waiting for? The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life.
Like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/The Bank of Nevis.
Welcome back and now on to the regional news. Out of Guadeloupe, coronavirus cases in the French island leapt to 73 on Tuesday from 62 on Monday. This means 11 new cases were reported in one day. Agence Regional de Santé ARS reported on Tuesday that 20 patients are in hospital with 7 in intensive care. According to StLuciaNewsOnline.com, the situation is so bad that the ARS announced that it has been authorized to offer hydroxychloroquine to patients on an experimental basis if they agree. With positive cases rising so fast, the Centre Hospitalier Universitaire CHU de la Guadeloupe is now being supplemented by Clinique des Eaux Claires to care for patients. In Dominica, the country reported 7 coronavirus cases, and this brings That's according to stlucianNewsOnline.com. The announcement was made by Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, and he said the island's ports will be closed to non-residents. Non-essential gatherings should include no more than 10 people, he stated. St. Lucia's Prime Minister Alan Chasney announced a 6-hour curfew as legislators prepared to further discuss new measures to be implemented as part of the efforts to combat the coronavirus after the island recorded its 3rd case on Monday. In a radio and television broadcast on Monday night, Chasney, flanked by his Economic Development, Housing, Urban Renewal, Transport and Civil Aviation Minister Guy Joseph, said that in order to legally implement the curfew, Governor General Sir Emmanuel Neville Sinak issued a proclamation Monday instituting the state of emergency. Meanwhile, the bulk of the Cayman Islands will be put under a 24-hour curfew from 7 p.m. tonight until 5 a.m. Saturday morning, Premier Alden McLaughlin's announced. He said government had been forced to take drastic action because it had been unable to get cooperation from the business community for an order to shut down non-essential businesses. He said there had been requests for more than 20,000 exemptions, and it was therefore impossible to put more measured constraints in place. Work will continue to put a more flexible order in place by Saturday, he said. News from the British Virgin Islands. Amid the coronavirus pandemic that is affecting the globe, members of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force have been forbidden from taking vacation leave outside of the BVI. Deputy Police Commissioner Alwyn James gave that indication while speaking during a live social media interview with the Government Information Service on Monday. With territories ANC ports being closed to international traffic, Deputy Police Commissioner Alwyn James said the police force will also be ramping up its border patrols. In Anguilla, the Seventh-day Adventist Church and throughout the North Caribbean Conference from St. Croix to Sabre will now be delivering its various services online, according to the Anguillian.com. This has been announced by the president of the St. Croix-based conference, Pastor Desmond James, and the particular portion of his announcement is as follows. In the North Caribbean Conference from St. Croix to Sabre, the COVID-19 has been positively identified in 7 of the 10 island territories. Therefore, in light of the global precautions to lessen the transmission of COVID-19, for the next 30 days, all Sabbath services, Sunday night and Wednesday night services will be conducted through live streaming and through radio broadcasting. And lastly, in our regional news segment, the Dutch government has developed an emergency package for employees and companies in Bonaire, Sabre and St. Eustatius Eustatia that are affected by social distancing policies imposed due to the coronavirus COVID-19. The package was announced by Minister of the Interior and Kingdom Relations Raymond Knops following a cabinet meeting on Friday, according to loopslu.com. Knopp stated due to the restrictions imposed on travel, the tourism sector, on which the islands are highly dependent, is virtually paralyzed. This has a major effect on corporate profitability and employment. Employers who face a loss of turnover greater than 20% and as a result cannot keep staff working may apply for a 3-month compensation from the Rich Ditst Caribs Netherlands RCN unit for social affairs and employment. And that's it for our regional news segment. Stay with us for news around the world. Welcome back, and now on to the international news. Spain's death toll from the coronavirus has surpassed the official figure from China, becoming the 2nd highest in the world. The number of deaths has risen to 738 in just 24 hours to a total of 3,434, a record spike for Spain. By comparison, China has officially reported 3,285 deaths, while Italy, the worst affected country, has 6,820. Spain's Prime Minister will later ask MPs to extend his country's state of emergency for another 2 weeks. Globally, there are 460,065 cases of the virus, with over 20,000 deaths and more than 113,000 people recovered. President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, said efforts to address shortages of vital equipment had been successful.
Spain needs masks to protect people, in particular health workers, from the virus. I'm very happy to announce good news. The joint procurement of masks and other protective equipment that the Commission coordinates is successful. We have received offers of masks and gloves exceeding our requests. And in 2 weeks, the masks, gloves, overalls, goggles will be in your hospitals. We have also launched joint public procurement to buy ventilators and testing kits, which are sorely needed too.
Canada has passed a multi-billion-dollar relief package to respond to the coronavirus slowdown. It allows the government to spend $107 billion in Canadian currency in emergency aid and economic stimulus to assist Canadians struggling financially. All parties supported the bill following amendments that removed provisions giving Cabinet unprecedented powers. It received rapid royal assent earlier today. The government said Canadians made nearly 1 million claims for unemployment benefits last week, which is equivalent to about 5% of Canada's workforce. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau had promised to push the bill through Parliament this week. A stimulus package worth $2 trillion has been agreed by U.S. Senate leaders and the White House to ease the impact of coronavirus. It reportedly includes payments of $1,200 to most American adults and aid to help small businesses pay workers. Full details of the deal, which Congress is expected to pass, are not known. Financial markets around the world rose on news of the deal. President Donald Trump has said he hopes the U.S. will shake off coronavirus within less than 3 weeks. Senate Republican Majority Leader Mitch McConnell described it as a wartime-level investment.
Roughly 40% of our population is under stay-at-home orders from state leaders. Employers across America are wondering how they'll keep the lights on. Doctors, nurses, and healthcare professionals are literally crying out for support. We literally have Army field hospitals on the way to being set up in our major American cities. In the space of just a few weeks, this has become, unfortunately, our new normal.
And Turkey has charged 20 suspects over the murder of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi in Istanbul in October 2018. Prosecutors said an indictment accused former Saudi Deputy Intelligence Chief Ahmad Asiri and former royal aide Saud al-Khatini with instigating the murder. The 18 others are accused of carrying out the deliberate and monstrous killing inside the Saudi consulate. Western intelligence agencies believe it was ordered by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, something he denies. At the time of his death, the 59-year-old worked for the Washington Post and had become a prominent critic of the Saudi government. According to the indictments announced by prosecutors in Istanbul today, Ahmad Asiri and Saud al-Khatani were charged with instigating the deliberate and monstrous killing causing torment. And that brings us to the end of our news segment. The latest in sports is next.
And it's time to hunt your prize. Come and celebrate Easter at the City Drugstore Nevis. Here are the rules. 1. Visit the store. 2. Browse for what you want and browse some more. 3. Choose wisely, and if you present a product with special clues, you win. Prizes include discounts, TDC gift cards, sweet treats, and much more. What's Easter without some shopping fun? So visit the City Drugstore this Easter and win big in our Hunt Your Prize promotion.
Welcome back, and now on to the sports. In Cricket West Indies, Cricket West Indies, CWI has confirmed that the Barbados Pride have been declared winners of the 2020 West Indies Championship. Acting upon the advice of CWI Medical Advisory Committee, a decision was made to cancel the last 2 rounds of matches in the first-class season due to COVID-19 pandemic. The final points were Barbados Pride 134.8 points, Trinidad and Tobago Red Force 94.6 points, Guyana Jaguars 91.8 points, Jamaica Scorpions 91.8 points, Windward Islands Volcanoes 78 points, and Leeward Islands Hurricanes 52.8 points. Meanwhile, the tournaments and camps immediately affected by the coronavirus are namely Colonial Medical Insurance Women's Super 50 Cup League, postponed later to this year, Regional Under-19s Women's T20 Championship, postponed to later this year, Regional Under-15s Boys Championship, cancelled for 2020, West Indies Under-15s Tour to England in the summer, cancelled for 2020, West Indies High Performance and International Preparation Training Camps, cancelled until at least May 31st, 2020. In more cricket, South Africa's Imperial Lions retained the CSA 4-Day Series trophy as they were crowned the 2019-2020 CSA Series champions. As the 2019-2020 season came to an abrupt halt, the Imperial Lions looked back at a season and they were actually filled with much gratification. The Imperial Lions went into the business end of the season with the 4-Day Series title in their sights and the momentum one-day Cup home semi-final secured. In local sports, the Ministry of Sports has informed all schools and partners of the annual Giant Malt High Schools Cricket Tournament that the tournament has been postponed until further notice. The release further advised all concerned to take the necessary precautions during this pandemic phase and stay safe. In more local sports, the annual sports meet of the Ines France Preschool was held at the St. Thomas's Primary School grounds on Friday, March 20th under the patronage of Lester Cozier. The final point standings were Greenhouse 210 points, Red House 205 points, and Orange House 157 points. In boxing, British World Heavyweight Champion Tyson Fury could fight American Deontay Wilder for a third time in October, says promoter Frank Warren. However, Wilder triggered a clause in their second fight contract which gave him a 30-day window to accept a trilogy fight. That will not be possible now because of the global coronavirus pandemic. Last month, Fury, 31, gained a 7th-round technical knockout win over Wilder at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas to take the WBC title from him. The pair had previously fought in Los Angeles in December 2018, which ended in a controversial draw. And in football, Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola has donated €1 million to fight the coronavirus outbreak in Spain. Guardiola, who is at his home in Barcelona, has been working with his lawyers over the past few days to work out the best way of using the money. In more sports, Roger Federer and his wife Mirka have donated 1 million Swiss francs for the most vulnerable families in Switzerland and have called on others to add their support. The 20-time Grand Slam champion is the latest in a string of sports stars to pledge money to support those affected by the virus. And that's it for sports. The weather is next. Welcome back and on to the weather report. Tonight, mostly fair with a 10% chance of showers. The weather tomorrow, mostly sunny with a slight chance of showers. The winds east-southeast at 9 to 19 kilometers per hour with lighter spells possible. The sea is 1 to 1.5 meters or 3 to 5 feet, and the sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:10 a.m. And that's how we wrap up the major news package for today, Wednesday, March 25th, 2020. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis confirms first 2 cases of coronavirus, and almost $120 million stimulus package announced to aid in COVID-19 pandemic. Regionally, Guadeloupe records 11 new coronavirus cases in one day, now 73. Internationally, Spain's coronavirus death toll surpasses China's, and in sports, Barbados Pride 2020 champions of West Indies Championship. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Jarvis Bond wishing you a pleasant evening.